help is beginning to arrive in the Philippines. Millions of people are in need there in the aftermath of that super typhoon. We just heard from the head of the UN humanitarian effort that relief workers are facing a logistical nightmare, especially in Tacloban, which is a city completely leveled by the storm. Take a look at these new images. They've just come into us. A hospital inside the disaster zone. Doctors there doing what they can to treat victims, but they are facing a desperate shortage of clean water and especially medicine. So will the aid get to the people who need it? How will it get there? John Northcott taking into that part of the story. John, this has been a massive disaster. We're only now really realizing the extent. So a massive disaster that requires a massive response.
Indeed, Heather, and this in the international aid community, they refer to it trying to avoid the disaster after the disaster, making sure the material gets to who it needs to get to in time to be the most effective that it can be. The logistics alone, you have Manila, far to the north. You have Cebu, about 200 kilometers away. It is the second largest airport and the second largest port in the Philippines. Okay, things get there, piles of aid, then the trick is to get it onto the ground in Tacloban. That is a challenge. The airport there has literally had the control tower with all of its windows blown out in the storm. So it's effectively a non-functioning airport control tower. That means military planes only getting in and out. They need to be able to clean up that airport, but they also need to be able to get things on site. And then the roads are another challenge. Once you get to the airport, getting it out from the airport, another step in the process. Let's listen to the food program local expert there on CBC News Network just a little while ago talking about, for example, the roads.
Let me give you an example from the airport to the city, which is 14 kilometers away. 2 days ago, on day one of the aftermath on Saturday, you could not go. Today, it takes about an hour, but you can make it.
Still, an hour to go just 14 kilometers, an hour on a roadway that could be even more congested as aid and vehicles arrive there. What is going on internationally in Singapore? For example, this British vessel, the HMS Daring, it has the ability to purify water. It is steaming on its way to the Philippines. Here in Hong Kong, an American aircraft carrier, the USS George Washington. Why is that important? Remember that airport. Helicopters on board there, ability to at least short takeoff and landing aircraft, have them there on site. Also, it has an ability to purify 400,000 gallons of water a day. That and food, the key needs right now. Heather?
Well, that water purification and creation, that's something that Canada's DART team does as well, John. Where is Canada's team at this moment?
Well, we understand, and it's a bit complicated to walk through the logistics of all this, but we understand what is happening is that there is an assessment team. This is from lessons learned in past disasters. How do you effectively send your people to where they should be rather than having them standing around simply getting in the way? And that is key. You can have things on the ground, but if it's getting in the way of more needed aid, then that can be a problem. So we have, as we understand it, a preliminary assessment team, Department of Foreign Affairs on scene in the Philippines. The bulk, though, left last night at C-130. They are actually in, of all places, Hawaii. That's the closest they can get. Again, they're going to be there, ready to leap when they're needed and where they're needed once that assessment is made.